What if the most important skill in the age of AI is not learning how to work with machines, but learning how to work with people? At MIT, I was taught how to work with machines, how to code, how to optimize, how to model, how to build. But for a while, no one taught me things like how to navigate disagreements, how to collaborate across differences, how to build trust with one another, how to truly understand another person. And think about the hardest problems that we are trying to solve today, from climate change to healthcare to AI safety. These aren't just technical problems, they are fundamentally human problems. And if AI continues to accelerate the way that it is right now, the real bottleneck in terms of skill set becomes our ability to work with others. And that means that this skill can be our real advantage in the age of AI. Over the past few years, I've had the opportunity to work and teach in 5 countries through MIT programs like MISTI, and I've traveled to nearly 50 of them. And one thing I noticed was no matter where I was, no matter how different the cultures that I was exposed to seemed so different on the surface, at the end of the day, there was this underlying universal language of being human that existed everywhere I went. And so over time, I began to develop a sort of mental playbook, drawing from my experiences traveling, from negotiation theory, from classes like 11011, The Art and Science of Negotiation, all about how to work better with people. Connection is a skill, and like any other skill, if we don't practice it, it will fade. So today, I want to introduce 4 ideas that can transform your ability to work with others. First, seek understanding, not just agreement. I was a high school debater, and in high school debate, the flip of a coin would determine whether you had to argue for the pro or con side. That meant each round we had to be prepared to defend either side of a given issue. It taught me something critical. It is, in fact, possible to understand something without necessarily agreeing with it. Often, we are taught to approach conversations trying to convince, to win, to prove a point. But the real shift happens when instead we focus on trying to understand how the other person sees the world. When we do that, we don't just become more persuasive, but we humanize instead of antagonize. And we open the door to working together. There's a quote that I always like to come back to. Be curious, not judgmental. It's a reminder that curiosity and understanding is what truly builds connection between people. And the thing is, AI can actually help you with this. Next time you disagree with someone, try asking ChatGPT to explain their perspective. You might just be surprised how quickly it forces you to step outside of your own. AI shouldn't be replacing our conversations by any means, but it can be a very useful tool to help us prepare better for them. Second, expand the pie. Recently, I was bartering over a Turkish coffee pot, and the vendor and I were going back and forth on the price. We were stuck and we just could not agree. It wasn't until I paused, took a step back, and thought maybe there's something beyond price that we can talk about. So I thought to make him an offer. If he accepted at my price, then I would go and encourage my friend to purchase from his store as well. And the thing is, there were so many vendors at this bazaar that this actually mattered to him. His demeanor completely changed. He smiled, shook my hand, agreed to my price, and lo and behold, my friend ended up purchasing something from him as well. We are conditioned to approach negotiation as a zero-sum game. If I win, you lose, and vice versa. But what if instead of asking, how can I win, we instead ask, how can we work together to create more value so that we can both win? In other words, how do we expand the pie so that we can all eat more pie? And who doesn't like pie? And so, when we are able to expand the pie and work together and shift our mindset from competition and instead to collaboration, we unlock the potential for much bigger breakthroughs. Third, diversify your circles. I'm Russian Jewish, and my best friend growing up is Lebanese. And we spend just as much time arguing over the intricacies of Middle Eastern politics as we do about the true origins of hummus. But that difference is exactly the point. Last year, I was working on a project in Ghana where we were building a mill for a women's collective. Our team was a mix of engineers and more business-oriented people. But that difference was our key advantage. The technical people were able to make sure that the solution actually worked, and the business-oriented people made sure that the solution was applicable for the people it was actually intended for. The team's diversity, in the end, is what made our solution that much more successful. There's a saying, show me your friends and I can show you your future. That's because the people who we surround ourselves with, they shape what we think, our beliefs, how we view the world. If we surround ourselves with people who all think the same, our world becomes smaller. But if we actively seek out people with different experiences, different perspectives, different backgrounds, our world expands with that, and so does our ability to work with others. 4, show that you care. I will never forget when my team at work took time out of their busy day to come to a hackathon presentation of mine. It meant the world to me that they were willing to go out of their way and support me. In fact, it motivated me to want to give that same energy back to the team and contribute even more. I know it sounds so simple, show that you care. So simple, it's like I shouldn't even have to mention it in a TED Talk. But truly showing that you care is one of the first things that we drop as soon as we get busy. At the end of the day, people just want to be heard, recognized, understood. When that's present, teams thrive. When it's absent, motivation quickly fades. Showing that you care is one of the most powerful ways to connect with other people. This week, I would encourage you to take an interaction that you might normally automate. Instead, go out of your way to show up for someone. Reach out to them, check in, and just simply connect. As AI becomes more and more embedded into our daily lives, it's easy to let it continue to dominate our attention just as much as it dominates our conversations. But we cannot allow it to make us lose sight of the people that are in front of us. The people who shape the future are not the best engineers. They're also not the best communicators. But rather, it's the people who are in the intersection, They understand complex technology, and they also understand the people that it's built for. The real opportunity with AI isn't to replace human interaction, but really to remove the friction and allow us to do it much better. And so it's the people who learn how to work with both machines and with people who will build that type of future. Let this serve as a reminder to consistently practice and use that muscle about how to communicate and work with others so we don't lose it.